Hello guys, Aaron Cybertron Zheng here. I'm taking a break from pools right now since I'm 3-0 and the last set is going on. So if we take a look at Danny's team, he's got Kangaskhan, Abomasnow, Rotom-Wash, Tyranitar, Klefki, and Azumarill. Really sound team. Kangaskhan is definitely probably the best Mega Pokemon out right now, along with Rotom-Wash. So it's no surprise to see that they're dominating right now. Klefki, obviously known for its Prankster ability. Really interesting because now that Thundurus is banned from the format, it's an interesting replacement because it gets Thunder Wave and Swagger, but at the same time it doesn't offer very much offensive potential. Abomasnow is also really good, but at the same and has the possibility of a Mega Evolution, but it does have several weaknesses which you have to look out for. So if we look at the battle, Jtails sends out his Gyarados and Klefki against Danny's Rotom-Wash and Klefki. Battle of the Klefkis right now. Intimidate goes off, but it won't be very effective against the Rotom and Klefki since neither of them are physical sweepers. Gyarados does have the ability to Mega Evolve right now, and the Klefki matchup here is interesting because they don't offer very much offensively, but they can start setting up for both trainers. Klefki, of course, gets access to Prankster, Reflect, Light Screen, Thunder Wave, and Swagger, so very versatile in terms of movesets. And the Rotom-Wash Gyarados matchup is not very good for Jtails here because Rotom-Wash can obviously Thunderbolt the Gyarados. So I'd have to give the field advantage to Danny right now, but of course Gyarados can choose to Mega Evolve too, which can neuter the 4-time super effective and instead turn it into a 2-time super effective. Alright, so we see the Gyarados Mega Evolve, which is a very good play because now Mold Breaker and a Thunder Wave from Klefki goes on to the opposing Klefki. Of course, the Klefki cannot Thunder Wave the Rotom-Wash because now Rotom-Wash is immune, and opposing Klefki is paralyzed, so one can move off. And we do see an Earthquake from Gyarados, which is a really interesting play. Really good play, actually. That makes Gyarados have a lot better matchup against Rotom-Wash. One of the great things about Mega Gyarados is that it gets Mold Breaker, which ignores the Levitate ability. But Rotom-Wash does go for the Will-O-Wisp instead of Thunderbolt. Really nice play there, too. So Gyarados will now only do half damage for the rest of the game because the burn brings it down to 50%. Is the stream up right now? I'm just gonna keep on commentating. So right now, even though Jtails' Gyarados is burned, it does have a nice advantage given that it has Mold Breaker with Earthquake. And we do see Reflect, and Klefki is paralyzed for the second turn in a row. 1 in 16 chance. Very unfortunate. One of the annoying things about that Prankster Thunder Wave. And Jtails choosing to still Earthquake. The burn actually kind of helps him out here because he does less to himself, and with that Reflect as well, Klefki does not take very much on his side. Danny's Klefki still has not been able to do anything since it's been paralyzed for the last 2 turns. And we see the Azumarill come out. Yeah, really unfortunate for Danny's side. He could have benefited from moves such as Reflect. And we do see Azumarill out now, and it is Fairy type with Play Rough, which can one-hit KO the Gyarados. Additionally, can choose to target the Klefki and get the knockout, so Danny's got some breathing room here, but he is down 4-3, and that Klefki is about to go down soon as well. So Jtails' Klefki, clearly the more dominant one here, able to paralyze Danny's Klefki 2 turns in a row. Of course, with that Lady Luck nickname as well. We have not seen any Swaggers yet, but Swagger is always a possibility. Of course, probably most known when Ryosuke Kosuge swaggered my Landorus Therian this year at the World Championships. But it is a very good move, and it can turn battles completely around. It basically makes games 50-50s. And swaggering, say, Gyarados right now wouldn't even be a very bad play because it is at 50%, so it would bring it back to full attack, but then you're playing with the confusion game and you're playing 50-50s. But we see Mega Gyarados actually switch out, and Sion, the Meowstic comes in. Lady Luck goes for another Thunder Wave. Klefki just spamming Thunder Waves right now, proving why it's one of the most dominant Pokemon. And Klefki is paralyzed for the 3rd turn in a row. Azumarill does get the play rough off, and that will be a super effective hit. Oh, excuse me, it's not. Very, but brings it down to 15 HP, and Sion heals a bit with leftovers. Klefki fully paralyzed for 3 turns in a row, 1 in 64 chance. Not much to say about that one other than Jtails is getting a bit of breathing room. Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so, I mean, Jtails has a really big advantage because he's gotten Danny's team, he's spreading paralysis nicely around, and obviously the main point of paralysis is to slow down your opponent's Pokemon, but as you see, it also has that 1/4 chance of making your opponent not allowed to attack at all, and the Meowstic goes, oh, not Meowstic, excuse me, Klefki is paralyzed for 4 turns in a row, and Azumarill, wow. I'm having personal flashbacks myself right now. The foul play, not very effective, does barely any damage to Azumarill, but you'd have to imagine that Danny's Azumarill was targeting the Klefki this turn. Yeah, sorry, I've been pronouncing Meowstic this entire time. That is actually not a Meowstic, that's a Sylveon, 2 useless cat Pokemon. But, yeah, Danny's in a rough spot now with 2 paralyzed Pokemon and getting no momentum from that last turn. He's in a pretty tough spot. Of course, he does have 1 Pokemon in the end and in the back, and he's probably gonna have to rely on that one to try to squeak out a win at this point because the Sylveon is Fairy type, and it does have and Azumarill is also Fairy type. So if it chooses to attack, Klefki is, I've never seen this before, and. I'm not even sure what to say at this point. The foul play goes on to Klefki, which does barely anything. Yeah. Sylveon goes for the Draining Kiss on slow Azumarill, and it does a nice amount of damage. And it heals a bit back as well. Yeah, this is
like the worst Pokemon.
I am so sorry.
Like, I can't believe this. I haven't gotten 1 move off this Klefki. 1 move.
Yeah, Klefki's, I think, been fully paralyzed for 5 turns in a row at this point. Azumarill's been paralyzed for the last 2 turns, and this is why Prankster and Thunder Wave is so feared by, so many players. One of the good things about Generation 6 is it's easier to beat that, and Klefki finally gets a move off with that Safeguard, as Jtails goes for a Reflect but doesn't do anything, and he gets the Aqua Jet off, so finally getting some breathing room in terms of attacking. This is a negligible amount though, and Sylveon goes for another Draining Kiss, and at this point, Jtails is healing more than doing damage. We see the Citrus Berry, I believe, come off of Azumarill, and so he will heal back a considerable amount too. And the leftovers on the Sylveon, of course. But I was saying, one of the good things about Generation 6 is Prankster and moves like Thunder Wave and Swagger on Klefki and Meowstic are now neutered a considerable amount, because the move Quick Guard now not only can go use after use, so consecutive uses, but also blocks moves from Prankster, and Klefki is paralyzed for another turn. Azumarill unfortunately does get the Aqua Jet off onto the Klefki, and with the critical hit knocks it out. So some momentum going on to Danny's way, and so Sylveon just going for another Draining Kiss, slowly but surely taking away that Azumarill's health. And it almost heals back to full HP after a couple of turns and that leftovers. And yeah, Danny's in a pretty rough situation now. He's got to gain some momentum, but after so many full paralyses, there's just not much you can do. And that's just one of the unfortunate things about Prankster and Swagger and, Thunder Wave. You kind of have to manage your odds, and I think one of the best things about team building is playing to those odds. I think that's why Quick Guard is a really good move on most teams now, because you basically block any chance of Swagger and Thunder Wave from Prankster users such as Meowstic and Klefki. We see the Mega Gyarados come back into the field, and the Sylveon goes for the Protect this turn. Gyarados most likely going for an Earthquake. Azumarill does go for Protect too, which is a nice play, blocking it from any damage as well. And Klefki gets a move off, but it targets into the Sylveon, and Gyarados will basically get a free knockout on that Klefki this turn. That was a nice play to protect the Azumarill, but unfortunately doesn't really work out since Jtails does get a free Earthquake off. There's not much that Danny could have done there because, as you see, Gyarados is already burned, so you can't say Thunder Wave it. Unless, of course, he had Swagger. And we do see Kangaskhan. Ooh, this is really interesting. Kangaskhan might just be able to turn this battle around. It's super fast, and with Gyarados neutered at -2 right now because of the burn, he's got a lot of offensive potential to work with. Of course, he is down 3-2, but at the same time, if there's any Pokemon in this metagame that I think can turn the battle around, it's definitely Kangaskhan, so don't count Danny out right now. And Azumarill has been around for a while, hasn't been doing much, and it's really allowed that Sylveon to heal back with Draining Kiss. We see the Mega Evolution from Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, of course, with its Parental Bond ability, does get 2 attacks off. And it goes straight for the return onto the Sylveon. Ooh, does a really nice amount. The Q Charm infatuates the Kangaskhan, but it will get another attack off, and it KOs the Sylveon. Very nice play by Danny right there. Hits 2 times, so the Sylveon feigns. Ooh, and an interesting move, Dragon Dance from the Mega Gyarados. So now it's basically at -1 attack, but it's at +1 speed. And we saw this turn, like, Mega Kangaskhan outsped. Ooh, and the Play Rough avoid. That would have KO'd that Gyarados right there. Yeah, it was very unfortunate there. And we see, like, Garchomp is... Jtails brings in the Garchomp, and really unfortunate miss there. I think if Danny hit that, he would have been able to swing things completely around. Of course, it'd still be a battle to win uphill, but now it's a lot tougher. However, Kangaskhan is still at full HP, which you have to keep in mind. And Gyarados, with that Dragon Dance, will outspeed, but it's still at -1 attack, so it won't be doing as much as Jtails would hopefully like. But of course, now Garchomp is out, so it could it could just get a couple of Earthquakes off and finish the battle. But Azumarill is Fairy type, so if Jtails chooses, he goes for the Dragon Claw onto Kangaskhan. And it does around 40%. Kangaskhan opting to go off with the Power Up Punch, and it still outspeeds the Gyarados even after the Dragon Dance. And Gyarados barely hangs on after that two Power Up Punches, and chooses to go for the Earthquake. But at -1, it might not be able to knock out the Azumarill, and it doesn't. And Azumarill hits the Play Rough, and it will one-hit KO that Garchomp. What a play! Wow. Rough Skin will look like it will knock it out. And Gyarados might go down to burn right down this turn, so we might see a 1v1 after this turn. Garchomp feigns, brilliant play there by Danny. Really nice job there. And Gyarados does feint. So now we have a +2 Mega Kangaskhan against Jtails' Soul, I believe, Klefki. This is how you... Oh, that's it. Danny turned the battle around. Look at that. That was beautiful. Very well played by Danny, and that is exactly why you don't give up when luck is not going against your way. If you get momentum in your way, that is how you come back. Mega Kangaskhan proving its worth, and that is why I think it's the best Mega Pokemon in the format right now. That was a beautiful game.
I made a mistake.
I'm really lucky I won talking about that. I've had a 6 turns. I couldn't believe it. I was just watching it.
Thanks.